Joining us now to discuss is John Leake, the co-author of The Courage to Face COVID-19, Preventing Hospitalization and Death While Battling the Biopharmaceutical Complex, which he co-wrote with Dr. Peter A. McCullough, and of which the foreword was written by presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Thanks for being here tonight, John.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So do you think one of the worst tricks of the CDC in deceiving the public is how adept they are at twisting numbers to hide what they want to hide and to exaggerate what they want to play up? Because for us regular members of the public, how are we supposed to know better or to double check them? Is that how they get away with so much?
I mean, it doesn't even seem like it's that sophisticated what they're doing. I mean, I was glad that you mentioned the OxyContin story, because it was just simply, we like this, we want to get this approved, and Purdue Pharma thinks it's a great molecule, and the FDA officer who was put in charge of evaluating it just rubber stamped it. I mean, there weren't any trials, and so I thought it was a great irony during the pandemic that there was this huge book that was published about, it's called Empire of Pain, about the Sackler family and OxyContin, and it was a big New York Times bestseller in the middle of the pandemic. And we see that nothing has changed since that sensational story.
No, you're exactly right. And also, when it comes to the rubber stamping, one thing that boggles my mind is that when these new booster shots come out, is that there's not even human testing. I know when human testing was happening in the beginning, they just lied and kind of twist the numbers to make it the vaccine seem a lot more efficacious than it really was. But I mean, now when you have these latest rounds of booster shots, they're testing on mice sometimes. Sometimes you're lucky if you get about 8 mice that they test on. Sometimes those mice get sick anyways, or their babies have deformations, and then they kind of lie and obscure the numbers. But I mean, is that part of this rubber stamping that we're not even getting full trials?
I think what you're seeing is an example of when you have fraudulent conduct that goes to the outset of this story. I mean, if you take Moderna, Moderna had never even brought a licensed product to market. I mean, they have this CEO, Stéphane Bancel, who has a patent on a part of the genetic sequence of the spike protein. He got the patent of this furin cleavage site piece of the spike protein code in 2016. And then 2020, this new and emerging infectious disease, SARS-CoV-2, there was a blast genome search on this section of the code in this virus that had emerged or was identified in 2020. Stéphane Bancel has the patent on that sequence, and he filed the patent in 2016. Maria Bartiromo asked him about this, and he just replied in this sort of brush-off way, I'm having some scientists look into it. And there was no follow-up discussion or inquiry at all. So when a company like Moderna has that little scrutiny placed on it, then why would they bother undergoing all kinds of rigorous testing and double checking? And I mean, just tell everybody that you injected a few mice with it and we're good to go. And the media, the mainstream media, obviously not you, seems to accept this. So why bother doing anything properly when elementary fraud gets the job done?